Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into this Thursday breakdown for recap for the day. So we do have the key levels marked. You can see them marked on here. Prior videos I've talked about these levels. So this was a breakdown level that we were looking for here in this purple line. You can see that we came out of the 30-minute candle and came out with some pretty strong. Let's actually move into the 15-minute chart so we can look at that actually. So you can see that right through here we started to come out with some strength through the 15-minute candle. For a sell-off after we had opened up in the session and just started to kind of fall more or less, came down with some strong sell-off and then started to bounce back up. Right here was a pretty good indication. We couldn't get back through that 30 minutes, so we're kind of back testing it. And then that's where we would have jumped into our 5-minute here. And you can see in that same area we were seeing rejection here on the 21. Right through here when it came back through the breakout area, that would have been your area to get in. A lot of times I like to go to 1.5 because it's just a nice clean move, easy trade. So you can see that's basically what happened here. If you use the 5-minute again, when it came back up through, it came through here very aggressively. So obviously this was a stop hunt right through here. You can see a lot of people were probably doing basically what I'm showing you right now. They were putting their stops in here for that breakdown. And then it came right back up and took a lot of those out. This is usually a day after a big news event, like we saw yesterday with the FOMC. But this is the area that we would be looking for here. Now that we're coming back up, the rest of this area is kind of hard to really take a look at. You could be looking for this to come back in and push back up if you were going to take a later trade in the day. The reason why is because we came down so aggressive and we bounced in some hard support area. Once we lost this area, we should have saw a continuation and seen this fall off. But yet we started to get back above the 200 on the 15 or the 5-minute. The 15 right now, we're sitting right in that zone again, pushing back up. The 30 is about ready to cross over the 50. Another bullish signal. You have the 21 coming up against this now, pushing up. This has held the support. Like I said, we already bounced through a lot of this key area. The other thing I'll point out is if you go out to the longer time frames on the 4-hour, yesterday we created this lower area, we bounced back up and created a lower area, then we came down and created this area, and then today we created this. So this would be your left shoulder, your head now, and your right shoulder. It's still rough in the process. So basically what I was saying, if you're using those lower time frames and trying to be a little more aggressive here, you could do that. But technically, you'd want to see this. This is still in this bigger falling wedge type pattern. This could be bigger. A lot of times when I see this big bounce up like this, I won't always count it, but you could have a bigger wedge out here going up to the same levels. The same level back up here where you have the other one, and then draw it out off of this area up here. So you could have more of this that we could still be in. So this could come back up and test this area up in here, the 105,000 rough level, basically where the 4 hours 200 is. Could come back up in that area before we see a bigger fall, or it starts to build structure and we maintain it. Right now there's some big structure right down through here, right more or less about the 104,400. That seems to be a pretty strong support area that we keep playing in. It is also if you look at the bigger VRVP and look at the bigger structure, if we went out to a longer time frame, it does show a lot of gap here if it starts to fall and lose this level, and then that's why I have these levels marked right now, because I am watching to see us fall possibly down into this area. It just depends on how the structure maintains. You can see we kind of fought it here and we did start to drop, and then we did this recovery, and then we bounced right back down into it, tried to push out again, came right back down into it. So we could easily go up here and then come back down to it. So that's just reading ahead of time and taking advantage of using your longer time frames. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we couldn't just start to lose it right here and fall and start to bleed out. And that's kind of what it looks like it's been trying to do, but yet it's been maintaining pretty strong. Here on the 1 hour, you had a double bottom in the last couple of days I've already talked about. And today, that long push down, it actually made a pretty strong higher low here. So this just kind of shows a little more bullish strength. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to flip and push up and everything's going to go great. It just means that it is pushing the more possibility we could come up and test even this 21 area all the way up into this higher area. It's just something we're going to want to watch and take a look at. looking at the bookmap price action for the last day throughout this last 12 hours or so, you can see that we started out with that bullish or bearish kind of settlement, and then we have kicked in and pushed it all up. Right now it's about 7:20 in the afternoon or in the evening here, so you're going to see this some weird volatility, and right now we're kind of sitting in a neutral state. We're going to have to use our 200s and our key levels to help us analyze this data here, but this is a pretty good, a pretty rough structure, if you will, to read price action. You really kind of have to look at the bigger window, some bigger targets where things could go based when things start to shift, because even in this 1 hour, we're still in bearish territory. You can see we tried to push up and then we kind of fell back, and now we're trying it again. I would really like to see this get back up in this area, but we'll have to see. Going back into Bookmap, if we zoom out a little bit, just looking at the time frames of, or the price structure ranges, this could easily bleed down into that 97,400, but it could also run up to the 110 or 108. Does it? To read this is if it's the dark colors out here, is pretty much reading off of this. So the darker red it is, the more likely it'll push into. So if this was a dark red up here, more likely to go up here. But if you read the graph, this is more of a lighter, kind of going to go into the yellow area. So this looks like it wants to pull this here more than it wants to pull it here. Now this can change, so that's why you don't want to get too hung up in this reading this area. But when you're looking at price action and reading your indicators, you can see where they start to behave more bullish or bearish, and that's kind of when you can use that bookmap tool to help look for areas that it could draw into. And that's kind of what I'm pointing out here, based on what we're kind of seeing in structure. I do like to see this little mini smaller head and shoulders here on the 4 hour. We'll see if we can get it to play out. If it does, we do have structure here. This is basically the neck to the head, roughly. Kind of go to the breakout. It does kind of take us up into this area. So it's kind of rough, and we do have some major resistance right here. We can see we keep fighting in the 104,800 range. We start getting above that though, and then we could easily get up into the 105,200 range. That's kind of where we're sort of looking at. If we break through that, then we could go on up and test this top area that we were talking about in the 4 hours. So went ahead and showed you price action today, the opportunity, then it kind of went flat. It is kind of creating almost a little Adam and Eve, maybe a cup and handle possibly right through here for a breakout. Here's the cup and the handle. Those are all rough patterns that we're looking at, but what I really want to see for myself is this 200, this structure to keep starting to push on up, this to kind of roll over, this to stay up, this would just keep pushing, and we go ahead and start climbing up out of this. That's what I would kind of want to see. But once we start going up, I'm not going to get too excited with this structure up here, because what I was just showing you, that's why I was pointing this out, because there's a lot of attitude when the market starts to move and go up, everybody gets excited and they get really bullish, and that's what you hear in the news. And when it goes down, you get a lot of negativity, and that's a lot of stuff you want to avoid when you're reading the markets and even taking advantage of price action. You want to be ready to move and know why things are going in certain directions, and you kind of already see them, so you can get prepared when it gets close to those areas. So that is about it, guys. For a recap, we'll go ahead and see you in the next recap for Friday, and I hope you guys have a great day trading. Talk to you later. Bye.